Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down NASCAR Xfinity Series slate at Daytona International Speedway on Friday, August 28th. This is the biggest weekend of the season so far. We've got basically the last race, well, not basically, it is the last race before the playoffs for both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, and they're at Daytona this year. So that's going to be crazy in itself. Daytona is a track where there's a lot of wrecks that usually happen and everyone can be taken out like that. And now you got the playoffs involved too, so that's just going to make it even more wild to me. Anybody that wins this race could get in the playoffs. So if you haven't won a race this year and you're outside of the points, if you win this race, you're in. So it all comes down to this. Anybody can win the race. Really, really excited to watch it. Both races I'm going to be watching, especially if it doesn't look like NBA is coming back for a little bit. So especially with that, I'm just going to be focused on NASCAR, so that's going to be fun. If you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, turn on notification bell. All those things really help me out. Last week we had a really good week with the NASCAR videos. Got a lot of good subscribers and likes and views from all that. So make sure to keep that up, guys. Thanks so much. If you want to get more of my content, you can subscribe to my Patreon. It's only $10 a month. I'll put the link in the description below. You're going to get a spreadsheet and cheat sheet, which will be on the next sheet with all the stats you need to know, along with projections. You're going to get a daily article for every single, well, not daily, I guess every single race you're going to get an article for with my top plays, along with my cash core 4 and my salary tier rankings. It's a little bit harder this week because it's Daytona, but it's still going to put all that out. That's for all three series combined. You're going to get all of that for the Cup, Truck, and Xfinity Series for only $10 a month, so be sure to check all of that out. Yeah, I think that's really all I got to say on all that, so make sure to, let's get into the video. Alright, so Daytona and Talladega race to play tracks are my favorite races to play DraftKings on. And a lot of people hate them, but I absolutely love them because it's not really about the drivers itself. I mean, it is, but it's more about the strategy. And for me, that's what I love most about DraftKings. That's why I love NFL the most, because it's so much more about just strategy than just picking the right players. So I do like that a lot about these races, because it's not just about finding, oh, who's the best at plate tracks, who's in the best starting position, all that. No, it's not. It's about picking a strategy of what you think, of how you think the race is going to go. So for me, I like to go back and get the optimal lineups from past plate races. So right here I have the past 7 plate races that you can also, that'll be on that. If you subscribe to the Patreon, you'll get in that as well. It's got all the past 7 plate races in the Xfinity Series, the optimal lineups on DraftKings. So I mean, we can go through them all, but I mean, I don't think I really need to go through the drivers individually, but the important thing about it is where the drivers start. So in the top 12, and on average, in the top 12, there's 1.71 drivers that start inside the top 12 in every single lineup. Then you have on average 13 to 25 starting position, 1.8 drivers start on average between 13 to 25, and from 26 to 40, 2.42 drivers start on average. So this is a track where place differential is more important than anything, because laps led isn't, like, there's not going to be a driver who leads like 100 laps. Like, as you can see, 35, 39, 45, 34, 49, 19, 24. Like, those are the most laps led in these races, so it's not a ton of laps. And I mean, the guy who can lead the most laps could get caught up in a wreck at the end of the race and be worthless, because he just loses negative points if he started up high. So it's not that important to get guys that start up front, but still in the optimal line. Like, a lot of people are going to tell you this week for Daytona and Talladega that the way to win, which is the way to play cash games and the way to maybe just like cash in a tournament, is to, you know, just stack the back, play drivers and start in the back, which is fine. That's a great strategy if you're trying to win that kind of way. But if you're trying to come in first place in a tournament, that's not going to win it for you. You're going to have to go out of the box and get drivers that start maybe more towards the front or in the middle. Like, as you see, 1.7 in the top 12, 1.85, 13 through 25, and 26 through 40 at the back, or 2.242 for 26 through 40. So you're going to have to get drivers that are back there. And this is also a track where salary isn't as important. I mean, if you look at the optimal lineup, $46,400, $47,300, $49,400, $49,800, $45,000, $39,000, and then $49,000. So you don't need all the salary to win these tournaments. You're going to see in the Cup Series video that there is a lot more of like lesser salary. In the Xfinity Series, there's more lineups that fill up most of the salary, but still, you do not need to fill up the salary to make a winning lineup here this weekend. So I think that's the key for me. If I'm making, like, I'm probably going to do a 20 max for this race. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to set rules on my optimizer where I'm going to have at least one driver starts in the top 12, at least one that starts 13 to 25, at least 2 that start from 26 to 40, and then the last 2 spots, they can be filled by wherever, because as you can see, it's not just a straight number. It's 1.7, 1.8. So that's how I'm going to do my lineups. I think that's really important to get that strategy in if you want to come in first place in the tournament. Now, if you are playing just cash lineups, or if you are just trying to like maybe cash in a tournament or something, yeah, stack to back. Don't play anybody who starts inside the top 10 because any of them can wreck at any moment. You have no clue. Like, there's no way of saying which driver in the top 10 is going to stay out of trouble because it doesn't matter. The guy can wreck in front of them and everyone else wrecks around them. So it's just a race where playing the strategy is what seems to work. I've had pretty good successes with the plate races. They've been one of my most successful tracks in NASCAR DFS so far. So yeah, I do just love the strategy of this. And in the Cup Series video, which I'll be making either later on today or tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the same thing. So a little bit different, numbers, but it's the same idea. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really all I got to say on strategy. We'll go over to driver by driver, but I mean, there's really not much like to break down because it's a plate race. That's the most important part, is the strategy, in my opinion, on how to win these, on how to make money on these slates. Don't be worried about leaving thousands of dollars on the table. You're gonna be okay. Like that's what you're supposed to do with these races. You don't need to fill up your salary. Don't feel the need to fill it up, because if you fill it up, chances are you probably aren't gonna win because you're gonna have a bunch of top guys that are starting towards the front and they're all gonna wreck. So yeah, I mean, you can, but I'm not saying you have to. All right, let's get into drivers. So right now I have everything sorted by starting position because I think that's more important. So here are your drivers that start inside the top 10. We have Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier, Brandon Jones, Daniel Hemrick, Michael Annett, Justin Haley, Riley Herbst. I mean, those are 10 of the best drivers in the series. I mean, we all know the way they've been doing the starting lineups, but they've been doing it a little different recently. It's not just, the random draw. They have a little formula or whatever they've been getting, so I like that. But these are your drivers that start inside the top 10. I mean, like, there's nothing I can really say to just, like, suggest a guy. I mean, I guess Noah Gragson's ran really well at the plate races in the few that he's ran. But then, like, Austin Cindric hasn't. But, like, if Austin Cindric stays out of trouble, he could finish top 3. Like, I don't think anyone would be shocked by that. Like, it's because he's in a fast car, and he's Austin Cindric. Chastain is another driver who seemed to run really well at these types of tracks. In all 3 series, I've seen him win in the Truck Series. He finished, I think, 3rd in the Xfinity Series that they got earlier this year. He had a really good run at Daytona 500 this year before wrecking out. So I've seen Chastain run really well. He starts second, so not a lot of people are going to want to play him. But again, you're going to need someone, probably more than likely, the winning lineup's going to have somebody that starts inside the top 10. Ross Chastain seems like a good option to me. So is Noah Gragson. But I mean, like, you can't ever go wrong with like a Chase Briscoe, an Austin Cindric, a Justin Allgaier. Like, they all have the upside to lead laps and win a race. Daniel Hemrick's another one that I think that number 8 car has been very fast this track in the past. Justin Haley's one who he won at Talladega earlier this year. He starts 9th, so I mean, that's not even like that negative place differential if he lose as much as some of the other guys. So I think Haley's a solid one to go after. We've seen him do well at these types of tracks. I mean, he won the Daytona Cup race a year ago, but that doesn't count. He got rain shortened, and he was just in the right place at the right time. He didn't do anything, so that don't count that. But like, he won Talladega earlier this year. We saw at the Daytona Xfinity Series race, I think it was last year, where he passed the car on the last lap to win, but he went below the double yellow line, so it didn't count. But we saw him run really well there. So this is the type of track that he has ran well at these types of tracks. So I think Haley's a good option. And Michael Annett, he's won Daytona before, so I mean, there's just another one. But I mean, again, just like all these guys, like, I can't predict which one of them is gonna wreck. Like, it's just not gonna happen. You gotta play the strategy. If you're playing if your strategy is to go 2 of these guys, all right, go 2 of these guys. If your strategy is to go 1 of these guys, okay, go 1 of these guys. But like, a lot of people are starting to catch on to that, which, I mean, it's sad because, I caught on a while ago. Now people are starting to catch on, which sucks. That gives away my edge. But if you're going with that, like picking 1 or 2 drivers side of top 10, everyone is going to pick Gragson because he won Daytona. Everyone's going to pick Haley because he won Talladega. Don't pick those guys. Pick Daniel Hemrick. Pick Brandon Jones. Like, no one's going on those names this week. Pick Ross Chastain because he starts second. Like, he's good here. Like, go for those guys to get away from the higher owned guys. Like, I know all the high owned guys are going to be in the back, but there's still going to be ownership on these guys, so might as well get the really, really low owned ones, like a Brandon Jones. Like, no one's picking Brandon Jones this week at all. He's doesn't have good history here. He's not really a good, like, not a lot of people think Brandon Jones is that good, and I might kind of agree. But like, it's Daytona. We don't know what's gonna happen. So I mean, I just go for the lower owned guys. Next we're gonna go through that was really supposed to be top 12, not top 10. Okay, I gotta add Harrison Burton and Brett Moffitt into that. Harrison Burton's another one. He ran 2nd at Daytona earlier this year, and then he wrecked out Talladega. But those were his only 2 plate races in the series. Yeah, Burton looks fine again. I mean, he's another one that's good here, but that's another one that people are probably more going to pick on is Harrison Burton. But I don't think as many people are going to pick Brett Moffitt. I mean, he starts one spot less, and who says the upside isn't there for Brett Moffitt? Because it is. All right, 13 through 25, we have Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg, Brandon Brown, Jeremy Clements, Alex LeBay, Tommy Joe Martins, Myatt Snyder, Josh Williams, Jesse Little, Joe Graf Jr., BJ McLeod, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Chad Fincham. That's your 13 through 25 range. We'll start with Anthony Alfredo. I mean, he's in the 21 car. It's really fast. But, like, again, it's just you don't know who's going to wreck. You don't know who's going to be up there. But if there was one car that I'd say is the best car in this range, it's definitely at number 21 with Anthony Alfredo. RCR Racing, really, really fast cars. So, Ryan Sieg, $7,600. I mean, see, salary doesn't matter. I don't even need to go over salary. But Ryan Sieg, like, I mean, he had problems at Talladega earlier this year, but it was, like, mechanical really early in the race. So, I mean, you know, he's fine. Brandon Brown's fine. Jeremy Clements is fine. Alex LeBay, he's fine. Alex LeBay had a good run at Daytona earlier this year. I think he had top 10. I know he was in the optimal lineup. I think it was either top 5 or top 10. He had a really good run. So, I mean, Alex LeBay has shown the upside here. Tommy Joe Martins had, like, an 18th place finish here at Talladega earlier this year. So, he has done well. But, I mean, like, you just don't, like, I expect, like, 10 cars to finish this race. So, if you can nail 6 out of 10, you're going to win the whole thing. Myatt Snyder, I mean, yeah, starts 19th. He's a good driver. So, I mean, he offers you the upside. Josh Williams. I mean, it's just hard because these guys, you know, you don't know. Like, I mean, I'm trying to, like, when I get down there, I'm going to talk more about, like, the cars that these guys are in. But, like, all these guys are in fine rides. Like, Jesse Little, BJ McLeod, and Earnhardt are all racing for JD Motorsports. They're not great cars, but they're, you know, cars that can hold their own. They're not cars that are just going to fall off at the very beginning of the race. Joe Graf Jr. is a fine option, I think. Fincham's fine. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the 13 through 25 range. But, like, again, like, you're going to want to go after the guys that maybe get a little bit lower ownership. Like, I think Earnhardt gets a lot of ownership because Earnhardt does have good history here. 7th best average finish at Daytona. So, yeah, I mean, he's run well here in the past, but that doesn't mean anything. These are the type of tracks where, for the most part, outside, like, the guys that are, like, the top tier, like in Cup, you got, like, Logano and Hamlin. Outside of that, it doesn't matter. It's all about who stays out of trouble. But, you know, go for the lower owned guys. Go for BJ McLeod. Like, no one's picking BJ McLeod because you don't need to go that cheap this week. So pick BJ McLeod. No one's picking Josh Williams because it's Josh Williams. People would rather just pick Myatt Snyder starting 19th. Jesse Little. Like, none of these guys are going to get clicked on. Click on them. They have just as much upside as anybody else in the range. So, don't be scared to go with, like, don't be scared to leave a ton of salary on the table, and don't be scared to pick guys that you don't usually choose. Up next, we're going to go through the 26 through, well, it's only 37 this week. Colby Howard, Cody Vanderwall, Gray Galding, Matt Mills, Vinnie Miller, Timmy Hill, Cesar Baccarella, Joey Gase, AJ Allmendinger, Mega Chalk, AJ Allmendinger, Mike Harmon, Tim Vaines, John Jackson. All right, I'm going to start with Allmendinger before I get into everyone else. Allmendinger is really good here. Really good at these plate races. We've seen him run them in the Xfinity Series before, and we've seen him have good runs. I think he finished second at Talladega earlier this year. I believe that. I mean, he had the top 5. I'm like 95% sure he was a runner-up to Haley. I'm pretty sure the Cali cars finished that race 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, Allmendinger, he's going to be super popular because he's just, you know, good driver, big name, good car, starts 34th. So, I think there are ways to just, like, you know, maybe get away from AJ Allmendinger and GBPs, or at least just don't play him 100%. Like, play him, you know, half your line, maybe half your lines at most. Like, because it's Talladega. Yeah, we've seen him stay out of trouble so far in these races, but I mean, who says he's moving his way up through the field? The guy in front of him wrecks, and boom, his race is over. That's going to take out a ton of lineups because a lot of people are going to play AJ Allmendinger. So getting to fade AJ Allmendinger may actually be an interesting move. The only problem is a lot of these guys down here I'm not as interested in playing as, like, in the Cup Series when you get to, like, the farther away drivers. Yeah, a lot of them they have decent upside. But in this series, they don't. Colby Howard's fine, though. Starting 26, he's in the JD Motorsports car. That's fine. Cody Vanderwall has never had a fast car, but I don't think it's, like, bad. It just, you know, he's really not that good of a driver, but if he stays out of trouble, it could work out. Gray Galding is someone I'm definitely interested in. We saw him have a top 5 at Daytona or Talladega a few years ago, so he's shown the upside here. Matt Mills is another one that's fine, I think. He's at least a decent enough ride, but that one scares me a little bit more. But Vinnie Miller and Timmy Hill definitely good. I mean, we saw Timmy Hill finish 3rd in Daytona earlier this year. I think Timmy Hill is going to be popular. So that's where you go to, like, someone like Vinnie Miller instead, or maybe Cesar Baccarella instead. Like, Cesar Baccarella is driving for Joey Gase is driving for RSS Racing, which is the same team that Myatt Snyder drives for, and they do have sponsorship this week, so he's fine. And I don't think people are going to pick Joey Gase just because it's Joey Gase. Cesar Baccarella is okay. Mike Harmon, not someone I really ever want to get to, ever. But, I mean, he starts 35th. I mean, there's decent upside there. Maybe throw him in a lineup or two. Tim Viennes isn't in the car good enough. Neither is John Jackson. Like, those two I'm not going to play at all, I don't think. So, I would stay away from those two and maybe Mike Harmon, but the rest of them are fine. And the problem is with AJ Allmendinger is, like, you're pivoting. Like it's not like you're pivoting from AJ Allmendinger to Austin Cindric, like you would think, like, usually. No, you're pivoting from AJ Allmendinger to Joey Gase, to Cesar Becquerel, to Timmy Hill. Like, this, it's hard to do that, but it's going to take some guts to do it, some balls to do it, but there's going to be a million wrecks in this race, and AJ Allmendinger has just as much a chance as everyone else does to do it. So if you're playing a ton of GPP lineups, there is definitely some reasoning to fade AJ Allmendinger here. It's going to be bold, and if he ends up in the top 5, you're not going to win anything. But if he doesn't, that's where you're going to be able to have a huge edge on everybody else. So, a lot of stuff that goes into this. If you want to follow me on social media, because I don't think I talked about that, my Twitter's at DFSNateLane, my Instagram's at @NateLane_. And, you know, you can always ask me questions about this race, because I know I probably didn't get into every single thing that you want to hear. If you have any questions about drivers, you have any questions about strategy, please hit me up, and I'll answer those questions for you. With no NBA right now, I've pretty much just got a lot of time in my hands, just working on other sports, like getting ready for NFL and college football. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, turn on notification bell. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the YouTube comments. You can subscribe to the Patreon, and you can become part of my premium Discord chat. You can always just ask me on Twitter, but yeah, make sure to get all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys make some money. Make sure to be on the lookout for my Cup Series video. If you're watching this, it may already be out, but it also might not. So be sure to be on the lookout. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.